Today, mobile internet feels so commonplace that we hardly ever think about how much data we consume every day. Watching videos, using social media, streaming music, navigation, and video calls all require gigabytes of data traffic. But it was not always like this. Just 20 years ago, the amount of mobile data that a modern user can consume in a few minutes would have been enough for many people for an entire month. Over the past decades, the world has undergone a true digital revolution. Some countries developed mobile networks faster than others. Technologies evolved, people's habits changed, and all of this was reflected in the amount of data being consumed. Let's take a look at how mobile internet consumption changed across countries from 2000 to 2026. Today, watching just a few minutes of high-quality video can consume more mobile data than many users used in an entire month in the early 2000s. It's hard to believe, but not long ago mobile internet was expensive, slow, and mainly used for reading simple text pages. The amount of transmitted data was so small that modern apps would have seemed like science fiction back then. As the first positions on the screen begin to change, pay attention to the scale. At the beginning of our chart, the differences between countries are relatively small, and mobile data consumption remains extremely low by today's standards. The real changes begin to emerge in the second half of the 2000s. The year 2007 becomes one of the most important milestones in the history of mobile internet. It is the year when the first iPhone is introduced. At that moment, few people realize that smartphones will soon completely transform the habits of billions of people around the world. With each passing year, users increasingly access the internet from their phones rather than from computers. New apps, mobile maps, online services, and social networks continue to emerge. By the early 2010s, growth begins to accelerate. More and more countries show a steady increase in mobile data consumption. The reason is simple: mobile internet becomes faster, and smartphones become more affordable. The year 2010 can be considered the beginning of a new era. Users discover mobile video. While mobile internet was previously used mainly for text-based content, an increasing share of traffic now goes toward videos and streaming media. It is during this period that the chart truly begins to gain momentum. Interestingly, the main driver of growth is not an increase in the number of users, but a change in their behavior. People begin spending significantly more time online than ever before. By the mid-2010s, mobile internet has become an essential part of everyday life. Communication, shopping, navigation, news consumption, and entertainment increasingly take place through smartphones. The year 2016 marks another important milestone. Short-form videos begin to gain popularity rapidly. Social platforms increasingly shift from text and photos to video content. And as we know, video requires far more data. As a result, some countries begin to surge dramatically. New leaders emerge on the chart, while familiar frontrunners gradually lose their positions. Many people expect to see only the world's largest economies among the leaders. In reality, however, the picture is far more interesting. The cost of mobile internet, competition between operators, and the speed of adopting new technologies all play a major role. As a result, countries that have managed to make mobile internet fast, affordable, and widely accessible often rank among the top positions. Then comes the year 2020. During the pandemic, millions of people switched to remote work, online learning, and video communication. The internet becomes not just a convenience, but an essential tool for everyday life. This event further accelerates the growth of mobile data traffic across nearly the entire world. At the same time, fifth-generation networks begin to spread rapidly. 5G opens up new possibilities for video streaming, cloud gaming, and other services that consume increasing amounts of data. Data volumes that once seemed impossible are now becoming the new normal. If you look closely at the final years of the chart, you can see how rapidly user habits are changing. What was considered an enormous amount of data only a few years ago is now seen as ordinary usage. And that brings us to the main question. What comes next? The history of mobile internet reveals an interesting pattern. Nearly every generation of technology underestimates the scale of future growth. When 3G networks appeared, few people anticipated the era of mobile video. When 4G arrived, almost no one could predict the explosion of short-form videos and live streaming. Today, the development of artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and augmented reality may once again change the rules of the game. Perhaps within just a few years, People will be transmitting amounts of data every day that seem unbelievable today. And then the figures we see at the end of this chart will appear just as modest as the numbers from the early 2000s seem to us today. But for now, let's see which countries managed to adapt to the digital revolution faster than others, and which ultimately became the leaders in mobile internet consumption. Subscribe so you don't miss a thing. See you in the next ranking.